This series of films that you are about to see were made in Cheddleton during the 1925-27 era. At that time, the Vicar of Cheddleton was the Reverend William Gaisford Burgess, an enterprising and most resourceful man. He turned the basement of the Cherney Hall into a cinema where films were shown weekly, and it was Mr. Burgess who had these films of village folk made. They were shown in the village cinema on the large screen to packed houses. When talkies began to be made, the silent films went out of fashion, and the cinema closed. The films were taken into care by Mrs. Irene Fleming, who looked after them for about 10 years before handing them over to the then vicar, the Reverend J. Bowman. They became largely forgotten, but during the latter years were rediscovered, and many people were keen to see them again. But these 35mm films were old and deteriorating, and the church had them copied onto 8mm stock. An initial showing was put on in the church, which of course required the use of complicated projection equipment. However, modern science has come to the rescue, and the present vicar, the Reverend Ted Farley, has had them put onto videotape, and so saved them for posterity. They show children at play, Britain's workpeople coming home from the mill, village carnivals and processions, Mr. Burgess with his clever and beloved dog Peter, the Garretaw, which is water rag, pronounced backwards, and various other activities, all of Cheddleton people and places. A few people to look out for are Mr. Jim Shenton, P.C. Barrett, the village constable, the Reverend W. Burgess, Phyllis Bold in the country dancing group, Obadiah Brassington in the cricket match, and many others too numerous to mention. Look out for old forms of transport and some buildings that are now demolished. This commentary made in February 1989 by Nellie Corden, formerly Brassy. Start the film now. Cheddleton Parish Church Sale of Work. Parish Church Sale of Work and Fancy Dress Procession, July the 4th, 1925. Would some kind God the gift to give us to see ourselves as others see us? How very true. The Flint Mill. Both wheels turning. What a lovely sight. It must have been in full production at that time, grinding flints for the pottery industry. Mr. Joe Nichols was the miller, and there are some shots of him later on in the film. He must have been quite a busy man. You'll see in a moment that the chimney's smoking, and only one wheel turning in that particular shot. But the mill must have been quite busy then. We're on the swings now in the Bridge Eye, the old swings, which were situated much nearer to the main road than where the present ones are, and you'll notice the weavers' cottages in the background. There's Mr. Burgess giving someone a helping hand, a push. On Saturday evenings these swings were fastened up with a chain padlock until Monday morning. No swinging allowed on Sundays in those days. These are Britain's workmen coming home from the mill. Does anyone recognise these ladies? That motorbike and sidecar in the background belongs to Mr. Ernst Sheldon from Wetley Rocks. You'll see him riding away on it in a moment. More workmen. The newspaper stall in the background was kept by a Mr. Kerry until Rutters took it over. More ladies with their shopping. Here's Mr. Sheldon just driving away, going home. Do you recognise any of these people? I think this is Mr. Milton Tate. A man with a rabbit on his bicycle. This is Mr. and Mrs. Whitehouse. They lived in one of the cottages on the main road, which are now lock-up garages. What a lovely garden he appears to have. and he's going to do a little dance for us. I think he was quite noted for clog dancing. The Cheddleton Church Lads Brigade in the procession. That boat, I think it finished up in the infants' school eventually. It was on rockers, and a great treat to have a ride in it. There's Harlequin and Columbine, someone with something on their apron, girls with tambourines, all kinds of carnival characters. Lots of people in the carnival too. Little boys dressed in band uniforms. Flower girls. Oh, a milkmaid there with a stool. Somebody running to catch up. Nearly got left behind. Oh, and somebody's dropped something, having to run back and pick it up. The ladies laughing and enjoying themselves. More carnival characters. That looked like a pixie. And a rabbit. Someone with a notice. Wonder what it says on that. Parasol. Miss Haynes in the dark dress there. I don't know the other two ladies. Wheelbarrow. I think that's supposed to be a barrel organ. Little dog walking along with her. Mrs. Parnell with flowers round her hat. And does anyone know who took the part of the drunk? A balloon seller. Ladies with collection boxes. Someone selling things there. And a man with a beard. Ladies with parasols. Someone with a money box with LSD written on it. Clams, Pierrots, a couple of parrots, gollywogs, and boys in knickerbockers, and those awful big floppy caps that they wore. This is the Rhubarb Band. There's Jackie Davison. They all, oh, that's the vicar just walked across. I think he's stopping the parade. Charlie Chaplin. I think a man came from Leek who did the Charlie Chaplin part. We're off again now. The pirates, and the gollywogs, and the rhubarb band. You see the sticks of rhubarb that they've all got fastened to their instruments, whatever they were. Charlie Chaplin again. Ladies of the village, Miss Haynes again, all walking along. The old horse pulling the cart. These look like geisha girls to me. They've got flowers in their hair and parasols. Now this is a family named Gaunt, and they came as gypsies, made that caravan and all the trappings themselves. It was very good. Does anyone know who this little girl is, the fairy on the cart? I think these are maypole dancers with the ribbons. Very pretty. Everyone wore a hat. Men, women, boys, girls, they'd all got hats on. Panamas and boaters, and mostly those big floppy caps. There we go. Mrs. Parnell again with Miss Barber. Lady just come on, she's in the centre now. That's Mrs. Bowles. She used to keep the shop that's now the Flintlock. I bet these people have got their heads cut off. They might have been able to tell who they were otherwise. All got boots on. Village boys getting in on the scene. Two little girls in matching hats. Does anyone know these two little girls? All shapes and sizes. Someone with the little boy in their arms. Oh, Will Sutton smoking the pipe, and Mr. Hazeldine just putting a cigarette in his mouth. Young men. Turn your hat up, little boy, so that you can be seen. Toddlers. P.C. Barrett there, keeping everybody in order. Ladies all rushing round, wanting to be seen. They're all walking up the canal bridge now, long before it was altered and the road was widened. More ladies with fancy hats. Ah, here we have Pierrot and Columbine. Or is it Harlequin and Columbine? I believe these were two young men from Leith who did female impersonation. I think they went to quite a lot of carnivals. Quite good what they're doing. Oh, very elegant. P.C. Barrett's taking a great interest. The Black Lion and Andrew Dawson being thrown out by someone, still with his mug in his hand. Charlie Chaplin's going to help to put him in the stocks. There he is. The stocks are still there, of course, but I think most of the metalwork's gone. CHEDDLETON Garretaw, the 3rd of September 1927. Actually, it's quite a bit later in the film before the Garretaw comes on, but no matter. CHEDDLETON Parish Church Tower and Porch, seen through the Lich Gate. A familiar sight to most of us. Those railings that were round that grave have been gone years ago. Long gone they are. And the clock looks a bit dowdy. I think it would do with a coat of paint. A CHEDDLETON greengrocer and his cart surrounded by his young customers at Wetley Rocks. This is Mr. William Turner. Here he is. He sold greengrocery from that cart for years. I don't know who the boy is, but the girl is his daughter Beatrice, and she died unfortunately when she was a young woman. Could the boy be John William? I don't somehow think so. They're having a good laugh. Children are enjoying it. Some of the girls of Wetley Rocks. It was quite something to be on film, you know, at that time.